So I'm going to break up the critique this week into two parts because many of you did cuisine. So we're going to look at those as a group and then we'll look at the others. So it'll be shorter videos. So I'm looking at Angie's work right now and I just wanted to kind of show you the overall that we started with. I think it's looking really good. The colors are pretty. Um, that high-tech word pretty, I know. But a couple of things I want to point out just in the general overview. I kind of want to see the top of the glass here. I want to see the bottom of the glass here. And it's just so slightly sitting on the edge here. I would like to see a little bit more space there. Okay, so those are a few little, picky things. But the overall feel of the work is pretty fantastic. So as we kind of move through, I love the reflection that you're getting up above. This is a very complex image to look at. You've got nice layering of space going on in here. Definitely a keeper. Like I said, I'd like to see the top of the glass, but I like this ending. It's really about the food. You're finishing up that food, you're getting that last sip of the wine. So it has a really good feel. It's telling a really good story. It's complete. The pouring. This one I definitely want to see the bottom of the glass, but I love that the background is so blurred. The colors just pop out. Everything is just so inviting here. Fantastic shot. We know that it's Las Vegas. It gives a nice sense of place here. The depth of field is really working. Just want to see a little bit more of that bottom of that glass. And being technical here, at this point, if I'm not going to see the bottom of the glass, I want to remove this. And that just means cloning this top part down. Because if you cropped it, then you're going to definitely lose the bottom of the glass. But just remove it. And in that case, you could just add a little bit of canvas and just clone that all the way in if it was a little too short of a image. Or, yeah, if you didn't crop it with enough space. Perfection. I love the summer feel of the outfit that the man is wearing, presenting you with this wine. Yummy. Just nice overview of where you're at. So I think you got a good set here. Just work on a little bit of those little finessing things for your edges of your frame. So I just brought this one up again, so I'm going to make this larger. And I would go in and clean up all of this little stuff on the window. Remember, it's all about that. Whoops. We're looking for perfection. And take out all of these. You can see this is going to take a little bit of time, but in the end, it's so going to be worth it. So we're looking at Joanne's work now, and this is the overview. So some great shots of the desserts, some nice portraits going on here. But what I want to see next is I want to see this cup of coffee and combination with maybe one of the desserts or maybe a glass of wine. So I want to see like kind of part of what you're showing off, the wine and the coffee, as part of the story here in the images. So, but you've got, some good stuff happening here. Looking good. You might go a little bit higher on the angle for her, but I know some of us are vertically challenged. Super yummy here. You got this like perfection on the fruit here. It has just a nice feel. The lighting is working. Inviting. We want to eat it. I would go in and touch up little things like these little spots along the way. Those are minor, but the right here, down here on the food, over here on the plate. Just really go in and clean this stuff up now. Good feel, good energy, kind of fun. I wish this rag wasn't here, but sometimes you're not behind there styling it. Um, so, just something to think about. Can you minimize that through editing? Okay. Well, I'd like to see kind of an overview of the place, maybe, and a location name. That's a nice way to round some of this stuff out, some of the seating. So I think I would just add a few more images when you're out shooting this type of work, just to kind of finish telling the story. You capture the people, you capture the food. Now let's think a little bit, add a little bit of place into that as well. But depends on what you're going after. If you're doing a story about the dessert, you got it. Next up, Lelayna. Yeah, I think I say this wrong every time. Okay, so we've got a nice overview of place here. As the full picture here, let's just go through and make some quick observations. I think this image down here, number 4, is working really well. Um, this one, I want to see a little bit of the edge here. I might shift myself to the right a little bit, and maybe look down a little bit more at her. Okay, up top here, I want to see the top of this little Oreo sign. I'm just getting picky, so that just means step back just 2 inches. And that's going to make a huge difference on that image. This one's working really nicely. I'm not quite sure what the story of this image is. Is it the greenhouse within the house? So I kind of want to see more of the base that's going on here. There's probably distracting stuff there that you were trying to minimize or hide, but it's kind of losing a point of view. So that one I think is not quite working. This one, I think you're telling the story of what's happening back here, but this gets a little distracting here. So the options are either to move in closer to this, but I really like the shoes here. So moving closer to them, or I would just take, once again, 1 foot back and include the tables, even though there aren't people there. It would help, layer the space. So we'd have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. It'll help tell the story and give us a greater understanding of where we are. I don't know where we are, so I would like to know where this is so that I could go there. Because it looks kind of like an interesting, quirky little place. You might have that in your write-up. I just have to go back and look at it. So, in your captioning. Let's take a closer look. Okay, like I said, this one overall is working really nicely. From the foreground to the middle ground to the background, I would just call this one good. Aha! As I'm looking here, we got the top of that Oreo, so good thing we brought it up. I take back what I said earlier. Looking good. Now, little things. I'd go and remove things like these little distractions in the background. Okay, that's a little Photoshop. This one I'm still a little confused by. Okay, this one's looking good. One thing is I'm looking at it, I would pull the rainbow cake forward to have a little bit more space between this fork in here. See, this is like a nice combo here. And I would probably either put the fork up on the plate or just pull that totally out of the image for right now. So those are picky things. Just kind of cleaning up the frame. Looking good. The purse in the background, I'd pull that out. And I was also thinking you could darken the front of this or add a little bit of blur to make those less noticeable. Unfortunately, we can't do anything with that trash can except maybe darken it down. I do love the shoes there on the fake grass at the bottom. I think what a fun place. Is this in Vegas? I have to go look it up now that I have the name. Okay, so I think you're looking at all the right stuff. You're looking at all things to tell the story. Now it's just a little finessing, a little bit of honing your eye for the little stuff. And you know what? That comes with time. So we're pointing it out, and you can think about it in the next shoot. So keep going. Okay, next up we have Chandra. And her idea was airport dining. Can we eat healthy while traveling? And I think that's a great concept. But the one thing I see as a problem is we don't really get a sense that it's the airport, except for in this one black and white one with this woman who looks very unhappy. So I love this shot that we have the baggage claim and that info. So it gives us the sense of space that the others aren't really doing. So how can you incorporate that into a few more of these images to help tell the story of where you're at? Because that's a very important part of what you're doing here. The one black and white one doesn't fit with the rest because it's black and white and the rest are color. So you might want to do them all in black and white or all in color. So think about that. So let's take a look at these as individual images. Okay, I am loving the way that burger looks. Um, but this up top is bothering me. So I would either move it up a tick so that we have the full hand in there so we can see that they're about to be eating that salad behind you and it becomes less of a distraction where it's cropped, or just really maybe you get up higher and focus more in on the burger looking down at it a little bit more. But that part is really appetizing. So maybe it's a crop across the top. This one's working to show, the cook in action, the people in the background. So maybe that would be something to focus in on too, because if you were to show that everyone had their luggage with them, because we eat at these places and everyone's has to have everything with them, that would give a sense of place too. You don't normally see luggage when you're out at the mall eating. I like the inclusion of the tip in the foreground there. I think that's working nicely. So think about, the multiple elements that tell the story. That's working. Once again, this top corner, either you include it or you get rid of it. Okay, so a little bit more of that info there. Boy, she looks unhappy that you're taking her picture, but that's okay. I do that all the time. Um, and this one I think is successful because it does have the airport information. This guy right here, I want to see more of him or less of him. And I think I'd rather see more of him because it shows the activity in the place. So show more of him walking through the scene. And it might be stepping back a notch, a step, and including, more of the expanse rather than going vertical. Try a horizontal with this image. This one we start to get a sense of what she's doing, looking for the food. However, we still don't know that it's at the airport. Of course, now I'm sounding like I'm dwelling on that. Oh, I might be. But show your location because that's a very important part of the story you're telling. So I think you got some good starts here. Um, are you traveling again soon at the airport? Because you could just round it out in the next shoot. And if it's not this summer, in the fall, in the spring, whenever you get to the airport again, um, these things can be ongoing and to add to your travel portfolio. Okay, Sydney went to Evil Pie for the cuisine shoot. So once again, we got a black and white and all the rest are in color. So either make them all black and white or make them all color. I love the warmth of these images. They're not really color corrected, and that's the lighting in the space, but that can be fixed in Photoshop if you choose to do so. Um, I do think it's working on these, but that's just something to take note of because some people won't like that. But it does make the food look a little yummier. I love the black and white here. I love how it's just, pulling me into that space. And I'm not sure that it would do that in color. And that's probably why you went with black and white. So let's take a look here. I like that you're far back, that you're looking down, you're seeing all the people. I love that you've got all of the stickers on the window. It just shows it's a great view of the space. So this is a keeper 100%. It doesn't even bother me things like the cup up here in the foreground, and that's probably a napkin on the floor or the trash can, because this truly is the space. We're not trying to make it look pristine. It is what it is. There's people coming in from the street. There's people ordering. There's people eating. Nice shot. Okay, so here we get into the food. So this is the overall. It has everything that you're eating. Um, I like that you're looking down on it. I'd look down on it a little bit more and try to get rid of some of this distraction in the background here. And then you might have heard in some of the other crits, I talked about cleaning stuff up. This little dot here, I'd clean it up. These little dots on the table, I'd clean it up. Just clean up the excess that'll pull our eye away from what we want to be looking at. Now we are getting into the close-ups of the individual foods. So the wings, oh, I love a good wing. That's looking pretty good. Once again, think about the stuff that's on the table. I know that this adds to the pizza, so maybe you'd include that more in the pizza shot and pull it out of the wings shot. So just clean things up around the edges or throw more things in. And I think when I say throw more things in, this one kind of does that in a better way. So you've got your Bud Light, all your, stuff for adding to your food, and then you've got the other pieces of food around it. This one, I would really just kind of maybe get up a little higher and look down, or just pull the stuff off to the right. That's bothering me more. This one feels more composed. And of course, you guys, when I'm saying this right now, I'm moving my hand around in the air to show the whole picture. I just thought that amused me. It might amuse you. Okay, we got enjoying the food. It's good. I always like it best when we're not totally like munching down on something, but sometimes that's a good shot too, especially for wings. They're messy. You could show off the messiness. I think this shot is working. And then back to the beginning. So I think you're doing a good job of telling stories. I want to see your captions. I want to know what's going on here. So write out better captions. A caption is more than just the place. Tell us what those wings were. Were they hot wings? Were they barbecue wings? Were they teriyaki wings? Be descriptive of your pizza. Tell us that this is in Las Vegas down on Fremont East. Give us a story. Tell us who this guy is and, round it out.